Welcome to the jungle, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Wild Wild West.
We're in
internet. WWW. That's the real jungle. And today's guest is going to help us navigate that jungle so that we can use the internet to our advantage. So let's get on with the show. Here we go.
Shut up and sit down.
The Business Bros Podcast was created for you. Learn from the business professionals who come to share their stories. Find out what's working in business, on social media, what's hot and what's not, straight from the mouths of successful entrepreneurs out there doing the real work. And now, welcome to another episode of
Business Bros. Yeah, I love it. All right, all you business pros out there. Before we jump into the show, just a quick reminder to please subscribe on whichever platform it is that you're listening to us on today. Give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe, and drop a review. Help other like-minded business owners find value from our awesome guests while we rise up in those podcast rankings. We'll sincerely appreciate every single one of you for it. And if you want to be a guest on the show, we'd love to have you on and learn from you as well. Go to www.businessbros.biz, schedule your time. Don't forget to follow us on all our social medias at Business Bros Pod. All right, everybody, we're so excited and honored to bring yet another incredible guest to the Business Bros Pod. Today's guest has been an expert in all things internet for more than 25 years, nearly as long as it's been around. He started as a pioneer web designer back in 1995, and today he's grown to be a dynamic speaker, Amazon bestselling author, and educator for all things interwebs. Our guest has helped hundreds of entrepreneurs and business owners with their websites and marketing, empowering them to attract more customers, make more sales, and enhance customer service. Woo! But don't worry if you don't know where to start. Our guest knows the way of the web better than most, and as your business's web jungle safari guide, our guest can help you navigate and avoid pitfalls, find the hidden treasure of profit from your website, and utilize it as your number one business tool. If you're ready to make the most of your website and finally see it work for you, tune in to hear how our guest can guide the way. Joining us today from right here in America's finest city, San Diego, welcome to the show, CJ Gilbert!
All right, it is party time, ladies and gents. Let's do this. Ham, thanks for the fire, bro.
Yeah.
All right, CJ, beautiful day in paradise. San Diego has been one of the greatest cities I've ever lived in. I've only lived in two. Really, I was born in LA, came to San Diego, never left.
Boy, you sure are reliable there.
Yeah, I've been everywhere. Yeah. 2 hours away is about the distance that I
Good thing we have a jungle guide on the show today.
Right? So, the internet, however, I was having this discussion with Hayato today. I met Hayato Nakamura for Starbucks today, and we were hanging out, and we were talking about how SEO and your web design and getting traffic is such a vital piece to business, and yet everybody's website looks different. WordPress, you do a funnel. What's the difference between a funnel and a landing page and a website? And like everything goes super crazy. CJ, help. How do I clarify this? Make it simple for me, please.
You got it. Well, I've got one thing for you to remember. And this is, if you tune out and you don't hear anything else we talk about for the rest of our time together, please hear this one thing. Your website is the only thing you can fully own and control on the internet. I'll say it one more time. Your website, it's the only thing you can fully own and control on the internet. And isn't it true?
He ain't lying.
Right. Every other platform out there is telling you to come to their platform and build up their brand and their website. And there's some value there because if that's where your audience is, you should hang out there to try to meet some new people. But always remember your website. It's the only thing you can fully own.
All right. I love that because I remember getting into the podcast space, getting into this lead generation and living online and building up a brand on the internet. I read Russell Brunson's book, Expert Secrets, and I love how he broke down the different ways of generating traffic or basically how you control things. And one of them was the difference between owning your traffic and paying for your traffic. So you still want people to come by. And I always saw my website as like a business card or like something where you can get some drive-through traffic. But today I feel like if you don't really spend a good amount of time building your website correctly, there is no walk-by traffic on Google. Like you are 10, 15, 20 pages in that search result, not at the very beginning. So what are some things that we can do so that we have some of that foot traffic?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And stick around because I'm going to share a free resource with your audience where they can really get some hands-on, good, solid ideas they can put in practice right away. And it all starts with your goals. This is what I consider is your two most important questions when it comes to your website and really all of your marketing. Number one, what are your goals? What do you want your website to do for you? What do you want it to do for your customers? It could be anything you can imagine. And I teach my audience to think of it as a tool. And with that in mind, they can use it to attract more customers, make more sales, improve their customer service. Only after really recognizing what you can use it for, can you start to use it. And then the second big question is, who is your target market? Because we want to speak directly to them. And I know there's a lot of experts out there that talk about how to create that ideal customer profile or that customer avatar. And that's really an important thing to do, because whether it's your website, your email marketing, your live podcast shows, you're speaking to a specific group of people, and you need to be really intentional who that is.
How do we figure that out? Like I've spent a lot of time and I rarely get past the demographics, right? Who we talking to? 25 to 35-year-old males in San Diego, right? And then what? Like, what are some of those steps that we could do to like clearly identify the avatar so that our messaging speaks to them?
That's a great question. Some people just need to jump in and get started, because isn't it true that sometimes you think you know what the answer is, but only after you've tried something do you find out what it really is?
Sometimes I think that's like all the time.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's all the time. So you do your best. You write down what you think is your best approach, who you're looking to meet with, and be willing to change and adapt as life teaches you the truth.
This is one of the common threads that I've had amongst my guests lately. We did some stuff on like your physical health. We did some on mental health, and website has neither, right? It's not physical or mental health. And yet we're like, you have to embrace the suck either way, right? Like you're going to go out there, you're going to put a website out. It's not going to be good, but it's not like it's a static website. You can always make changes. You can always improve. You can always add things to it. You can always, RSS feeds, posts, whatever it is that we're doing. What makes a good website? Like, what are the key factors that we're looking for? And let's assume, because there's a ton of different types, let's assume what we're looking for is a conversion. We want a customer to either book an appointment or buy a product.
Right. Excellent question. And I want to touch on a couple things. First of all, you're absolutely right. It is a live, breathing thing. It's so much better than it was, a decade or two ago when you got into business and you had to figure out what you want on your business card, and you had to figure out what you want on your brochure, and you had to be real specific, and you had to go over it a zillion times, because when you hit print and you got 5,000 copies of that brochure printed, it really did suck when you found that printing error or something was wrong, or your business changed and you wanted to change something, right? If you can think of your website as that living thing, it's living, it's growing with your business. It's a tool to serve your business. We can put up today our best guess on what our services are and who our audience is. And as we learn and adapt and grow and change our services and adapt to this and that, make your website match. So that's a great concept to think about. It's alive, it's living, and you can change it.
What about, like I've noticed your website is your name, right? CJ Gilbert.live. And I own my own domain name. I know, we tend to do that. I bought my kids' domain names when they were born just because I wanted to make sure I own them as well. I don't know what they're going to do in the future, but I figured it was a decent investment to get into. Like, why own my name versus maybe something else, right? Like, I don't know, chocolateboots.com or something, whatever your business name is versus maybe your personal name. What's the difference between owning the two, and why would I want one over the other?
That's a great question. And it comes right back to what your goals are for that website. It's not going to surprise you to find out that I have a couple different websites, but each one of them is for something specific. So the one that you see at the bottom of the screen right now, cjgilbert.live, that's kind of like my speaker website, my author website. You can go to that website. You can see a couple shots of me speaking. You can grab my one sheet. You can book me to come speak on your podcast or at your event. It's all about the speaking. And yet I have other links right on that page where you can jump over to my podcast, Ask a Web Geek. Well, that has its own website, askawebgeek.com. It's specifically about that thing. And then I have my web design business. That's Gilbert Studios. So I have gilbertstudios.com. And that's all about my web design company and how I'm building websites and some tools and resources. And then the other one that's on that page that I want you to make special note of is mywebsitesafari.com. So you can go to this one link right here. Which way is it going? cjgilbert.live. Go there and you'll find a link to all those other places. And where I want you to go next is mywebsitesafari.com. You're going to find that's a one-page website where you can put in your name and email and you can get access to my 7-video free workshop. And that's where I want you to go next to learn these principles. So I have those multiple websites, and you can see how that could become really confusing to start talking about different websites until you recognize that each one of them have a specific purpose and a specific place. And I'm only telling you about all of them right now at once because we're talking about it and we're strategizing over it. Otherwise, I just give you the one that was pertinent for that conversation.
I love that, right? And it's funny because when you're describing all of them, it reminds me of like when people ask me, "Hey, what do you do?" Holy moly. I mean, I got a tax practice. I got a real estate license. James and I own an insurance agency together. Yep. We do the podcast, like so many different things. And it gets really convoluted, especially when I'm trying to find my true north type thing.
Right.
However, what you described, if you were listening, is because CJ or Hernan is so complicated, we had to simplify it for who's looking, right?
That's
So
right.
when they go to any particular website, the only thing they're going to find on that website is going to be that product or service. You do many other things, but for the public's view, there's only the one thing we want. It's kind of like a department store or going to the mall, right? You go to the mall and you know you're going to get some shopping done. But when you fine tune and you're like, I want shoes. Okay, we're going to Foot Locker, right? Because you know that's the place that has shoes. There's no confusion. You go directly to that spot. So, help me clarify that with the audience. Like, what is the purpose of our website? What is the prime focus when you have so many different ones?
Great question. And that actually is going to lead me right back perfectly into answering one of your earlier questions about kind of the multiple steps or the multiple stages you have when you're talking to a prospective customer and how your website can be a tool during that process. So let me just talk about this general sales idea. One of my sales mentors talks about the fact that if you can think of your sales process as really a series of steps, you're not going to meet someone day one and immediately have them sign up and buy your biggest product, right? There could be a couple stages along the way. Maybe you have a free demo. Maybe you want them to fill out a form. Maybe there's some trial information. And then maybe there's even a series of products. You could have like product A, which just gives them a little taste, and then you lead to product B and lead to product C. So you don't try to sell them your $15,000 program right out the door, or maybe you do if that's the right thing for you. But chances are there's a series of steps. So the greatest thing to realize is that your website can help you during each one of those steps, and consider what those steps are. So the first time someone's coming to your website, they're probably just wanting to get some general research, what you're all about, figure out who you are you reputable? Do you say what you do and do what you say? And then they're looking at what's that next step. So your website should have the details of what you do. If they want to click about and learn more about you, great. If they want to click on your services and learn more about your services, great. But also in that, among those pages, you're probably going to have need to have a really specific call to action with whatever that next step is. It's probably contact us, free demo, free trial. What's that first step or rather the next step they need to take? Make that the biggest thing, and then make it part of your sales cycle, right? After that, they're going to have a conversation with you, and then they're going to need some follow-up information. And you already know you're going to have a link that you send them where they can get that information, possibly with the next step there. So it's all about the one step at a time.
I've had different mentors and different people that I look up to describe websites completely different, especially when we get into the whole idea of using paid ads to drive traffic, right? You know, what you're describing, that call to action, terms like when you hear things above the fold, you know, those types of things. Help the audience understand why having a single purpose on the website, and what does it mean to have above the fold call to action to that single purpose?
Absolutely. You know, people on the internet, they're moving fast. They move faster than ever. I'm seeing different statistics every day about the average attention span. You know, I've heard it. I heard someone say yesterday that yes, I heard that we're actually less than a goldfish now. And
we did it to
kind of
ourselves.
funny and kind of not. But at the same time, people are moving fast and they want information quickly and they want it easily. So when they come to your website, they're looking for something. And that phrase above the fold, that indicates that when someone comes to your website, you can probably start scrolling and there's a lot of information maybe on that homepage, but the stuff they see right away without having to scroll, that's what's considered above the fold. So that's where that first immediate info and call to action should be right there.
And you know, when you're using paid traffic versus organic traffic, you know, it used to be that if you had some good SEO, if you had some good backlinks, you were showing up really often on Google search results, or you would show up, same thing, you'd post something on social media, go out, no problem. Today's organic reach is not as good. So what can we do to be found, right? I mean, should we be leveraging social media? Should I be writing a blog? Should I be doing a podcast? What's going to give my website prime real estate when it comes to searchability?
Oh, great question. Yeah, there's a lot of different techniques one can use, but a lot of it comes down to your content. It's all about your content. It's all about the words on your pages. That could be a blog. That's an excellent idea. A blog is probably one of the top choices for getting good information into your website. But it could also be the way you describe your services. If your company has multiple services, maybe you have a specific page for each one of those services, so that on that specific page, you can talk about that specific service in a little more detail than you normally would. And, you know, this is really tricky to talk about because we really are serving two masters at once. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, we're serving our human audience. We're serving people, and people need pictures, and they need bullet points, and they need headlines. They essentially need an introduction to information. That's kind of what the best use of your homepage is. Just quick bullet points, headlines, give them the overview and let them click something, because their click means I want to learn more about that. So on your homepage, you know, they see kind of general, but then they click to learn more about your services. Then they come to your services page. And now you say, we've got services 1, 2, and 3. What do you like? They're going to click one of those when they say, I want to learn more about that one. That's when they finally land on that detailed page where you can have more detail about that one service. But you see how we gently brought the user there with a couple clicks? But we're also serving that robot machine that is Google. But see, this leads us to a great opportunity, because we can put all of that detailed information on that lower page. Google is going to see it, find it, and if there's people that are using certain search terms that happen to coincide with what you're talking about on that page, Google will deliver your user right to the information they're looking for right on that sub page. As opposed to, you've given me your business card, you've sent me your link, I come to your homepage, now I need to make that human choice, learn more, tell me more.
All right, I'm going to ask you to critique our website. Maybe looking at one is going to give us some more insight onto what we're doing, and maybe I'll get a different point of view. You know, get some insight on that. So let me bring this up. StreamYard has some cool new features. So we're going to drop this thing in here. This is their picture-in-picture. So this is our website, right? So you go to businessbros.biz. Above the fold is our logo. We got a little text chat if you want to ask a question there. And then how can I help your business grow? This is above the fold. What do you think?
I bet most people's view is a little bit bigger than what we're seeing here, enough that we're actually seeing that button right there. Scroll down just a little bit. My guess is that button right there is in that top fold area for most people. In fact, let me just
I'll pull it up on your
take a
phone.
side look at mine. Yeah, I get at least that first button. I actually see the top 5 buttons, but I at least get those
Perfect.
couple buttons. So I think most people are going to get the how can we help your business grow and that podcast guest sign up and then need more customers. So they're immediately, I think they're immediately going to start scrolling just to see what the other options are. But it's to me, it's perfect because it makes them choose what do they want next.
Okay,
and
cool.
You've done a really great job here. This website is very intentional. You really have one purpose behind it. It's all about the podcast. And you've got each action step right here of what you want them to do next. Do they want to sign up as a guest? Do they want to check out your advertising opportunities, et cetera, some of the other options, or your social media? You've got it all right there. I love it.
And it's simple. I don't have anything on about you. There's no other things, no menu items, no about us, nothing like that. And the purpose for this is very simple. I want you to click on one of these.
Exactly.
Right? That is it. That is all I want you to do. And
do you see how that's a huge service to your customers?
Yeah.
I remind my customers all the time, we are here to serve your customers. We're here to serve your people. So everything that we're talking about, everything we're going to consider about your website, I'm always going to filter it through what's the best thing for your customers, for your users, so that we can deliver exactly that to them.
Let's remove this guy right here. Thank you for that insight. All right, cool. So let's jump into the public speaking that you do. When you go and you talk websites, it used to be that when you talk websites, that's futuristic. Nobody uses websites. That's not a thing, right?
Yeah.
And then they become mainstream. And now we're almost like, well, nobody says websites. Now it's landing pages. Now it's whatever the terminology is, but same type of thing. When you do speaking engagements, what are some of the questions, the most common questions that you get from the audience after you do your presentation?
You know, a lot of people, I think, are not quite as advanced as we might assume they are. You know, we feel like we're in this somewhat new age of internet. I've been using the internet for a long time now. I've been using websites for a long time, but I still talk to people every single day that the concept of a website is brand new to them. And what I discovered really early on in my own business is that most people, most business owners, they had this vague sense that they needed a website, but they had no idea what to do with it or what to use it for or what it was for. And that's where I started writing down some of my thoughts and how I ended up writing my book and becoming a speaker, because I want to teach business owners. It's a tool. It's so amazing. It's so powerful. And yes, you can use it for all the things that you're talking about. Building a list is huge. In fact, secret, your list, your email list, that's the other thing you can fully own and control. But I see that as you get that directly through your website. So that's why I still say your website's number one, because those other pieces are important.
Let's hover on that list, right? Because this is something that I learned way after I'd been doing a lot of stuff, right? It wasn't something that was innate. It's something that I was thinking about, but this is where lead magnets and this is where giveaways and different things that you pop up on your website to gather this information. Why is it so important to own your email list? Help me, for those of us who are getting into this business space and they're like, I talk to people all the time. They know who I am. Why do I need their email?
Absolutely. And I want to start by saying another question that I get asked all the time when we start talking about email lists, people immediately start confusing this with the idea of spam. Oh, I don't want to be on someone's email list. I don't want them to send me stuff that I don't want. And my answer to that is, yeah, we don't want to send you stuff you don't want. We only want people on our list who want to hear from us. And so that's like a win-win situation. I never advise people to buy a list and start emailing people that have never contacted you. That is not at all what I'm about. What I want you to do is set up your website, maybe offer some information or a free book or a free guide or something. Give them something that entices them to essentially they're buying this free thing from you with their email address. There's a value there. They're giving you permission to contact them. And that's why this is also known sometimes as permission marketing, because I've given you my email address and I'm saying you can send me stuff. You can email me stuff about what you're doing, like a newsletter, but it's so much more powerful than that.
Definitely. Shout out to Robert, Business Bros. reviews. Always love when people stop by. So when you control the email list, right? So this is where I was talking about a little bit earlier with Russell Brunson stuff. What, the way you get traffic is oftentimes you pay for it, or you do speaking events and people come check out your stuff, whatever it is. But when that traffic comes, they also go, right? They're gone after that. And so by collecting these email addresses, I knew that was going to happen. Look at that. I lost a light right there. All right. So by collecting those email addresses and having that information, right away that you can always reach out again. Right.
Exactly.
I mean, this is exactly what you want to do. It's not about, customer acquisition is so difficult right now. It's so expensive already that if you have the information, all of a sudden you're able to, hey, we're doing a Black Friday sale. Hey, we're doing a special promo. And again, it's not spam if it's people who are already interested in what you're doing, or education and nurturing, right? This is where you enhance the relationship. So aside from emails, what other information can I get from my customers, and which ones are important?
That's a great question. Let me think about how to answer that the best. Well, the email list is huge. It's very important, like you mentioned. I want to touch in on one of the things you mentioned earlier was about social media. Should I also be on social media? And my answer to that is always yes. My answer is, where is your audience? Who's your audience? And then that leads to, where is your audience? Wherever your audience is, be there, hang out there. People want community, and social media has become places where they can get that community. If you can meet them in that community and bring them into your community, maybe your email list, maybe your membership website, etc., all the better. If we can continue to communicate with people and give them what they need, what they want to learn next, who they want to be interested to next. One of the side benefits of this show that you do is you meet so many amazing people in so many different fields and industries. And, when someone views you, they know you do real estate, they know you do insurance, but they know that you have all these other contacts, and they probably come to you a lot and say, hey, do you know someone who does something like this? Drone promotion? Do you know someone who, helps you quit drinking so much alcohol to increase your focus? You're going to say, yeah, as a matter of fact, I do. And you can make that kind of an introduction, and you become a resource for your customers. That's
the key, right? And in all that we've discussed today, what you put on your website, the communication that you have, what you're giving in order to receive email addresses, phone numbers, all that sort of stuff is value. Right? It comes down to value. It doesn't matter. You can have the greatest, most technical website, and if you have crap on there, it's not going to get the attention that you're looking for. But if you're giving value, which is usually some of your best information, right? What we would, 25 years ago, we'd call that top secret. But today, you give away as much information as possible, all your secret tools and everything, because that is the most valuable thing that you can give away. And that is the thing that's going to bring the most attention to you and your website and get that database that you're looking for.
That's right.
CJ, you're on fire, man. Like doing websites is not an easy thing. I got one more question for you as far as websites are concerned. We're entering the metaverse stage, which is going to be a completely different type of internet. Web 3.0 is what I keep hearing it called, right?
Yeah.
How does that affect websites?
I still think, and I still get asked the question now, aren't websites dying? Aren't we moving away from that into these other things? And again, it brings me back to, yes, you should be on Facebook. Facebook's huge right now. Yes, you should be on YouTube. YouTube's huge right now. Twitter, Instagram, I'm on all of those places, and I do a lot of posting there, but I can't own any of those places. Everything that I do on those platforms is owned and controlled by those platforms. And at any given moment, they could decide, based on something that I've done, or based on someone has accessed my account without my permission, or whatever the case is, they could decide to turn that off. And all of a sudden, I have no more access to my customers. They can't do that with your website. You own your website. You own the ideas on your website. You own the email addresses you collect through your website. It's all about staying in communication with your audience and with your customers.
Clip that, Celine. You got that. Clip it. All right. So the idea of control, that's really what it comes down to, ladies and gents. You have to be in control. It's one of the reasons why I would rather invest in business and real estate is because I have control. Right? I love investing in some stocks every now and again, but I don't have control. If Apple decided to drop its business and be over, I have zero control over that. If they want to launch a new product, I have zero control over that. Right. I'm just in it for the ride. But when your business, control is everything, and owning your own website, owning your traffic by collecting emails and phone numbers and all that stuff, that is how your business is going to grow. You have to get ahead of it sooner rather than later. Every customer you're working with today, if you don't have their information in a database, ready to go, ready to be able to sell them new stuff on an ongoing basis, your business isn't going to survive much. You have to have the continuity going, and you have to maintain control. Remember MySpace? Yeah, me too. That was a while ago. They're gone, right? Like stuff like that is going to happen. Remember Facebook? It ain't even Facebook anymore. It's Meta. So anything can change at any given time except for the stuff you control. CJ, thank you very much for being on the show. Two things. One, if people want to get information from you, they know they need a website, but they don't know where to start. How can they get a hold of you?
Absolutely. You can use this link, follow right along the bottom there, cjgilbert.live. And on that page, you're going to find links to a couple other places. gilbertstudios.com. That's my website design business. Come check out my work there. Let me know if I can serve you in that way. And also, if you just want to get some more information, some more ideas, I want you to check out my free video workshop. It's at mywebsitesafari.com. Yes, that link is also at cjgilbert.live. And that's the 7 videos where I'm introducing these concepts and I teach you right there. No jargon, no language you don't understand. I speak geek, so you don't have to. And I translate it into real human. So that's what I'm here to do for you.
You don't have to learn HTML. Let me translate for you.
That's right.
That's perfect. All right, last little thing. We're big on video testimonials. One of the things we do. What was your experience like on the Business Bros podcast?
I love the Business Bros podcast. It is amazing. Every show is different. Every show features a new expert. And I got to tell you, it just tickled me to death to be live on the show with you today, because it looks just like it does when I'm watching it, except I'm talking to you and you're talking back. I'm usually talking to you. I'm usually yelling at your show, but you don't hear me and talk back. So that's a lot of fun today. It's been a great experience. You bring a lot of energy, and I've really had a great time.
Thank you very much.
Well, it's certainly more enjoyable than my average day.
Exactly, Sean. Exactly. All right. By the way, ladies and gents, if you want to yell at me while we're on the show and you're watching it live, drop a comment. I'd love to hear what you're thinking. Maybe you have a question for the guest that's on the show. The only way to get a hold of them, especially if it's live, is to drop a little message. We're literally live on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. So whatever platform you're on, drop us a message. Ask a question to the guest. They're live. Might as well get your question answered from a professional. They're right here. That's what they're there for. All right, ladies and gents, last little plug. We do love to help you create content, whether it's creating content for your social media, whether it's creating content for your website, creating content via video testimonials, paid ads, whatever it is that you need help when it comes to content creation. Go to businessbros.biz, drop us a question if you have it, or just click on the button and then set up an appointment. Love to talk to you and help you out. CJ, thank you very much. As always, ladies and gents, we'll see you guys again next time. Peace. And hopefully next time my lights work a little better. So sorry about that. Later.
Thank you for listening to the Business Bros Podcast. Are you looking to get more clients or to increase your income? Hernan, the Business Bro, can help you generate referrals through the power of podcasting. And James, the Insurance Bro with Pipeline Insurance, can help you effectively add insurance to your existing business. If you are ready to create wealth today and generational wealth for tomorrow, email businessbros@csfirst.com to schedule a free consultation, or join the Business Bros Network, www.businessbros.biz.